Okay, I think my mic is working right now. Yeah, I've been talking. I guess it's working right now. Okay, whatever. I haven't said anything. I'm waiting for Regan, and she's gonna join. She's been working in the space for a really long time, and she's been working as a grant manager to ecosystem lead to business developers, and she's been interacting with so many people. So she has lots of insights about who to trust, who to give capital, and who is LARPing, who is not. And she's been helping on operational side of events and organizing events herself too. And she has a lot of knowledge about what makes a good event and what makes a bad event. So we're gonna learn, extract all the information in this interview from her, hopefully. I have my questions. Let me open them really quick while I'm waiting for her. Okay, that's amazing that I tested the microphone before we started. So yeah, we will talk about difference between online presence and in real life presence. What this stream mainly focuses on. My banks are looking. I just we were like we had to start like a few hours ago, but Google made a mistake. It doesn't show the daylight saving thing, and we just moved this time, moved the stream this time. So I took a nap and I wake up from it, and I'm glad that we changed. I needed that nap. I was so tired. Meanwhile, I'm gonna share the stream in my group chats. Spring allergy is killing me. I feel so tired, but I got pills today and I feel better, I think. But it's made me a little bit sleepy. But I think it's fixing me. I feel so much better. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Let me try to do this. Let me try different things while I'm waiting for Regan. But if I just remove myself from the thing. Oops. Yes, she's here. Yay! Welcome to Little Big Market by Lavo Big.
Hey Per. Hey Per. How are you, hon?
I'm fine. How are you? How was your?
Good. Good. I've just been working. Sorry, a little bit of a mess back here on laundry day. You know the vibes. But yeah. Gosh, it's like super late by you, no?
We have the same style today, same haircut.
Same haircut, same vibe, same person. Who's who? But thanks
Yeah,
for having me on, hon. I'm really excited.
trying to be like you every day.
You're so cute. I love the little like custom background we have of the Hello Kitty Band-Aids and Little Big Market logo. It could not be any cuter.
Yes, we rebranded.
It's so cute.
And we are live. So I already summarized what we're gonna talk about, but let me summarize again. So Regan was in the space for a really long time, and she's been talking with builders, helping to organize friends, or organize events, like doing so many things. You worked as a grant manager, business developer, ecosystem, but so many things.
Girl, I've been all over the map. Yeah.
So you can read people really well, I assume, and this
Ooh, I like that.
stream is about like we are focusing on reputation, trust, community building, and brand building. So I want to talk about these things with you, which is I want to extract all the insights and everything you think about. And for the people who don't know you very well, how would you introduce yourself?
Sorry, I'm just moving. I'm gonna go get comfortable. I'm gonna join you in a more comfy seat. Oh gosh, yeah. Anyway, really happy to be here. My name is Regan. I have been in crypto for a long time. I got into crypto in like the later half of 2021. Now it's already 2026, so very long time. I would describe myself as kind of just like a crypto career generalist. And especially even more now, like I feel like I used to just call myself non-technical, and I feel like that nomenclature is like really falling off with just sort of even with things like Claude Code and just the ability of AI, where the coding language is English. So, yeah, I describe myself now more as a generalist. I'm currently doing consulting work for two companies that are awesome, and as you've said, I've run a grants program, I've done business development, I've done technical marketing. I just can't get away from crypto. You cannot keep me away if you tried. And so, yeah, going on like 5 years, and it's been pretty amazing.
Amazing. Yeah, when you once you in the sector, you can get out. It's very addictive.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think because you're addicted to like just the globalness of it all and meeting people all around the world, and like there's just something so special about it, and then suddenly quietly and quickly your social scene becomes crypto people, so it's
Hmm.
it's like this vortex that you get involved into.
Hmm. And there's also like a big mission, visionary mission that like
Yes,
in the world we're fixing the financial systems and everything. So it's very addictive. So
exactly.
yeah. So yeah, you met so many people, you can read them very well probably. And I want to ask my first questions about like how you read the space. And
Yeah.
events are one of the most important parts of the crypto and how trust is built at this point. It wasn't like this before, maybe, but right now, meeting with people in real life, even if we are working all around the world and everything is digital, is very important. And how you decide you're gonna trust someone, or if someone is human or not, or if an account
Yeah.
shared by five different people or something, like anything can happen on crypto Twitter. So when you walk into a crypto event, like what are you paying attention to in the first 10 seconds? Like what makes an event good for you, basically? It can be an operational level, experience level, it can be anything.
That's a really good question. I think that my answer has changed. I would say before I would kind of rate events by like who I was interacting with there, which I think is still a pretty good barometer, right? Like
Mm,
events attract a certain amount of people. But now that I've met and know a lot of my friends or whatever, I think the way that I kind of judge or interpret an event has a lot to do with just the branding and the intentionality behind it.
Mm-hmm.
when ETH Denver, right, used to have like 1,000 side events, and it was just kind of unsustainable. And in general, there's a lot of things that, there's sometimes just like so many events you can get lost and you end up applying to a bunch and you're on the wait list, or you just like end up blowing them off because it's just there's way too many things going on. So I've just found a lot of I think I love when events have a lot of intentionality. Like, for example, I think like Safe House always does a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
I think that certain brands do a really good job. And I think, especially now, something that stuck out to me, even though I actually wasn't invited, I didn't go, was the Octant Hype candlelit ceremony, if you remember, in Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
It was so unique. It was so well done. It was like almost like the opposite of crypto, right? Because they said, don't be on your phones. It's completely IRL. It's music, it's art, it's completely immersive. And I think that those special events, intimate, sort of exclusive, one-time events,
Mm-hmm.
um, are so important. And of course, cultural events as well, but those can also kind of be a bit overdone. Like, I have way too many mate cups from Argentina, although I guess I'm not complaining because mate is really good. But yeah, long story short, I think I'll want to go to an event if I feel like like there's someone, usually there's like an events person that's doing it and they have a really sharp eye, like someone who I think is incredibly talented is Burb. And she runs her own events company now, Soup. And like anything that has taste and that has its own culture and own branding is
Mm-hmm.
just it's so fun to be around. So I would say usually that. And then yeah, of course, if it has really cool people there, that helps too.
So, in terms of people, do you prefer to go to the events that your friends are going, or like probably yes, but do you prefer like going to the events that you gonna meet with new people, like gonna see new faces, or just go to the events that you're gonna see the same events, like same people, hang out with same people and spend time with them, build stronger relationships with? Because like from my experience, for the first time I went to Breakpoint and it was like people were mostly different. People like I didn't know most of the people, and it actually really helped me to grow my network even if I don't know like most of the people in there.
Yeah.
And it's like it was completely different than Dev Connect or other Ethereum events, because like when you go to an Ethereum event, from my experience, I'm seeing the same people most of the time, going
Right.
to events that my friends are going or people I know going. So it was completely different. What do you prefer? Like, what makes a good event in terms of that?
Good question. Honestly, I like both. More when I was working at Euler, a previous company, I would have to like go to institutional events where usually I wouldn't know anybody. And so after events like those, it's super nice to kind of like decompress with people that you know. But again, events are usually like, especially if you're being sent out there by a company, there's a lot of events that you should go to for the business reasons, and then hopefully you make friends there as well. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the way that I do it is a lot of the day events, like more serious, more institutional. Like I'll just go. That doesn't matter to me if no one I know is going there. Like I'm there for a specific like business purpose.
Mhm.
And then like the great thing about crypto though is that so many of my friends work at companies that I probably would also want to do business with. So
Mhm.
there's like almost a natural, this is gonna sound like so corpo, but like there's almost a natural synergy there where if you're just like investing in your friends as well,
Mhm.
everyone leaves companies a lot. There's a lot of churn in crypto. There's a lot of moving pieces. So nurturing those existing relationships is as important usually as new biz. And so it's a mix for me, but usually like during the daytime, I'm more corpo. I'm more like, yeah, let's go to the Stable Summit or whatever. And I'm like, I don't really care if anyone's there. Versus like at night, that's usually where there's some of the more intimate, more smaller, even like not official events. And I think that that can just be such a good way to decompress and then also just like fill your cup for the next day.
Amazing. Yeah. And huge part of the experience in crypto, about reading people, figuring out like who to trust. It capital, it can be social, vouching for
Yeah.
someone, or with the company that you work for. Anything, it can be anything. So how do you develop the instinct, um, how do you develop an instinct that you can trust someone, or something is wrong with someone specific when you meet with them in
Yeah.
person?
Yeah, honestly, something that I do or that I kind of find myself subconsciously doing a lot is like if someone connects with me on Telegram, I immediately look at what groups we have in common.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. Like, for example, I think I just have a higher level of trust for anyone that's in like love bombing or in like who's a baddie or et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of like pre-existing, pre-vetted groups within crypto. And so if there's like overlap there, then that's usually a really good sign. Same with if someone cold reaches out on Twitter. I really value who our mutuals are. And so if it has like 100+ mutuals, that's usually a very good sign because if they're doing something shady, like that usually gets around. But yeah, in like IRL events, I don't know. I've been really lucky, potentially because usually I think I just have a good nose for it, maybe. But in general, like crypto has a ton of social proof built into it, or maybe that is also the problem, and that's why like bracket x bracket exists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you need to know who you can trust and who like long term and long time builders are. But yeah, that's a big reason why I lean on IRL as well, because I feel like more serious builders are the ones that like dedicate to actually coming to a crypto conference and being there and hosting events, etc. So typically there's an aspect of IRL and URL that I think goes into building trust in a space like this. Especially when, you know, some people are anonymous and well, I think all that's fine. I think it's more so like being anon to me like is actually very cool. And a lot of my friends are anon, but like they still will participate in person or they've built up a lot of social proof that they are someone that you can trust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in terms of online presence and anonymity, like they're anonymous person people and they're very active online and everyone knows them online, but no one has seen them in real life.
Yeah, true, true.
What do you think? What is the plan behind it? Or like not like that, but like um but
Usually
what
it's
does that
OGs, right?
say?
There's a lot of OGs. I mean, I think
That,
that
like there are two kinds of people, I guess. Yeah.
yeah,
OG,
when I
what
joined
we say.
crypto, when I joined, I know it sounds like I'm getting initiated into a cult, but when I like joined the space, I was always fully doxxed. Like I think I even used to have like my last name. I mean, because I don't like it's not I'm
Have
not hiding anything, right?
that? Have you ever bullied for that online? For
I've ever
posting or being like being doxxed? Have you ever bullied online for being a
I
girl
mean,
and being
I
doxxed?
like, yeah, but not even anything that I like would pay attention to
Mhm.
because like yeah, there's so much noise out there that if you like pay attention to sometimes some people will just like comment mean things because like hurt people. So it's
Mhm.
something that's like a life lesson that my parents taught me. And I don't know. Like, yes, but it's unremarkable. So we'll start there. But yeah, there's been times where, and this was more of a conversation, like I
Mhm.
think pre-AI, pre like the huge bot spam on Twitter, though it was still around, where it was actually like almost a bit like weirder to be doxxed than to be undoxxed. Like 4 or 5 years ago in crypto. And I didn't know the etiquette. Like I created my Twitter account and I didn't realize that I kind of saw people were going by fake cute names. And sometimes I wish I like did lean into that because I think having a different personality can be really fun and a way to express yourself. But I don't think it was like the right fit for me. And I just was like, nah, I don't really care. But yes, you do open yourself up to like a degree of harassment if you are like if you're a woman and especially when you're associated with woman things, right? Like when I
Mhm.
did some consulting work for the baddies, right? Like the baddies were constantly under fire and that's it's kind of part of the territory, but I guess I've never let it affect me mentally, at least certain I'm a big 25-year-old woman. I'm too grown to care about what
Please.
someone yeah, it's not even the faceless part, but I would care. Like again, if it was someone maybe who we had a lot of mutuals, like even if it's
Mhm.
like faceless and on, I would probably value that opinion a lot more. But I've been pretty thankful that like I personally, haven't been like harassed very deeply. There was like one scenario when I first joined Twitter, and I remember that actually affected me deeply. I'm kind of remembering that, but then I think I just blocked the person. Have you ever seen? I think it was like Tyler the Creator or something. Like, and this is like I don't necessarily co-sign this, but it was like, "How are you being cyberbullied? Just turn the computer off." like, you know, like
Yes.
that's it's not like
Please
obviously
don't
there's like
said that to me
I
before.
forget who said it, but it was like it's like not true, but also like in my case, I should have blocked that person way sooner. Like, what was I doing? Like allowing someone to comment mean and hurtful things. And I was like, maybe I'll ignore it. Like, just block them. Just block them. Like,
Self-harm. Why are you even checking that? Like,
yes, because like eventually I was like, K mute, because like that's what they want. They want your attention. And so the best thing is to not give it to them.
yeah, that's true. But like, woman experience is completely different in terms of that.
Yes.
So let me check my questions. And in IRL experience is like, as we talked before in the beginning, is where the trust is built, and you have to organize stuff, doing consultant work for baddies or for the other events and for the other companies that you have been working for. What it takes to create a space where real relationships form versus a space where people just show up and take a photo and leave.
That's such a good question. Yeah, and I think that Keisha did a really good job answering this, and there's like a reason why like Keisha is that entire brand and why it was so powerful and so all over the timeline. Like one of the most special events I've ever been a part of in crypto, but also in general, would be like the Baddie Villa. I again was just there, and I was like, okay, let me like help out with some of the operations, right? And it was so intentional and so fun and so safe. And I look back on that and I'm like, gosh, like what I would do for another week at the Baddie Villa. But I think that events made by women for women there's like a natural curation there. And I think especially in an industry where that is very male dominated, having like this space that's like basically only women, like is only women, is so lovely. And so, but even outside of that, I found like amazing community, like amongst men, of course, like majority of my colleagues are men. And so there's also events that can really curate vibes that are like incredibly social and incredibly awesome. And I think that there's certain communities like Boys Club does a great job with their events. Like obviously Baddies, which is usually almost always women only, sometimes co-ed. But I think that it's because you can see like the creative genius behind certain people. Like if you just create a room and you have like a table and you have drinks, like that's not really curating a vibe, right? Like, I mean, it's people are showing up, but like you have to curate a vibe and it has to be intentional. And I think that like intentionality, IRL, all these things, like I'm not trying to like they're kind of going to get co-opted and like, we're going to see a lot of people probably trying to do it and it's not as authentic, but there's already just so many authentic like brand designers, brand people in crypto, and they continue to execute fabulous events. And I always am like, please let me come. So I'm going to be continuing to go.
How do you define vibe curation?
How did I find it?
How do you define it?
Oh, define it. Yeah. Oh, good question. I would say purpose, intent, execution, and also unique. Those are the words that come to mind. Like, I think like a vibe, it's part the people that are there. It's part the actual event and venue. It's part the protocols that you like. I think that a really good event has so much intentionality behind it that you don't even notice all of it. Like it's almost like there's so much there.
Like an event. It's not even like an event. It gives that.
Yes, like, or you just like you kind of exit there and you don't even realize all the pieces that made you feel a certain way, and yet you still are feeling a certain way. And so like there's this awesome group chat in crypto called like Event Girlies, and it's gender neutral despite the name. There's men and women in there, and there's so many people who take events very seriously in this space. I'm just in there as like a fly on the wall because sometimes I'm like, hello, does anyone have any dinner venue? But like I would not consider myself an expert on events, even though sometimes I try to put them on. But yeah, I would say like curating a vibe is really like it's intentional, it's rarely accidental. And if you leave an event feeling a certain way, there's almost certainly a very powerful and a creative person or persons that you should thank for that.
Yeah, that's true. And when you go to these events, and I guess in your previous position, you were working as a grant. You were the person builders are going and asking for a grant.
Yeah, yeah.
And you
Free
met
money lady. Yeah, it's a joke, but
you met
yes.
probably so many builders, and it's a very specific and important role actually, because you
It is.
choose. I assume you were the person choosing or just like presenting the builders to the other people. Oh, that's this people are building something great. You should give them money or a capital or just
Mhm.
get them our like accelerator.
Right. Resources, connections, yeah, all of it, all of it.
So, what are the first things that you're looking for when you're deciding who should get the grant and who shouldn't?
Ooh,
Besides
yes.
pitch the
I
product.
have so many general thoughts about grants and crypto, and I think that they are undergoing a massive but quiet evolution right now because grants as they existed in like 2020, 2021 are not the same stage that they exist on now. But at the end of the day, like the way in which
What
Hmm?
what changed?
I would say that I think what changed is people realizing that really big like grants programs, at least as they existed before, just had like generally low ROI.
Mhm.
Grants programs used to be like really easy to farm and easy to like, and there's like they're not usually incentive aligned, right? I think it's something like 93% of grants projects like are either fail or are like completely dead, like no GitHub activity if we define that as dead after
Mhm.
like 6 months once the grant money runs out. So it's not like a super sustainable way. Also, this idea of like, hey, like we can like buy chain loyalty, that also rarely works. Builders should and do go to where they can like grow. And at the end of the day, like it's pretty rare that like something that you can create on the grant level, especially these micro grants, can then go on into, let's say, like raise venture capital, right? Like that's usually, or that's what should be the point is like, hey, you're like picking these founders that then can go on and like raise around and hire employees and make a company and make things really big and start reaching TVL, et cetera. So
Mhm.
grants now have really shifted into like milestone or even like end payments where it's like, hey, like if you built something, you can come and you can get rewarded for
Mm.
that, or milestones, which usually have like TVL or metrics. But again, you have to you have to practice a ton of discernment over this because it's pretty easy to, not easy, but like if you're a non-technical reviewer, like sometimes, some transactions could be fake or like all these things. So what I look for, and it relates to this conversation, is trust. It absolutely is trust because a grant is non-dilutive capital, usually, almost always, and it's a lot of trust to put into someone. And it's not really about trust like, oh, like I trust you to make a really successful company, because a lot of startups fail. That's the nature of startups in crypto and web3, whatever you want to call it, high risk space. It's not even so much that they succeed, but more so that there's like a level of effort and just like there's a certain founder profile that I kind of have in mind when I like to give grants. Like just almost like relentless, like eager, knows about the chain, like has like a social proof, and they usually like can raise like a friends and family round pretty quickly, maybe, etc. So yeah, I mean, we gave out all types of grants when I was at Polygon. Some always work better than others, but a lot of grants are sort of also become like BD deals, etc. And so I think what we're going to see in grants is that there's going to be a lot less focus on, and with AI and the fact that like front ends can be spun up really quickly, I think it's investing like less in the product and more in the person. And I think that this is also just an investment thesis, right? Like almost like you want to invest in this person because the loyalty to that person is important, because as the labor is getting smaller and smaller from months to weeks to days for
Mhm.
and back end, and like even getting contracts audited by cloud security, right? I mean, it's everything is so much faster, and therefore the person that's actually running it can have a bunch of ideas. And so having that communication with that person, I think, is more important now. And I think that grants programs are going to stop rewarding smaller projects that can just be made in like a day, and more so rewarding people that attribute long-term value to the chain.
Not the product, but the idea mostly.
It's almost like the idea and yes, the execution. Like if you come in with just an idea, ideas are cheap. I have a lot of ideas and I also have a Cloud Code subscription. If I can easily make it, like if I can copy exactly what you did in a few days, that's not exciting. But if you who built it in a few days have a very specific reason slash use case slash connections, or it's like a very personal story, like I, for example, like when it comes to like remittance stuff, right? Like there are certain founders that are like tailored for that, right? They come from certain countries, they have certain backgrounds, they have certain connections. Like that's really exciting to me. It's exciting to invest in people of diverse backgrounds and ways of thinking and processing, because those are the people that will continue building things, even if the first one doesn't stick and land.
And yeah, it's very interesting. Like even the conversations when you have, like I just have a conversation with a project to do a design, to do their designs. Even for the designers and who's gonna work in a project as a designer, the workflow is completely changed. They're coming up. Oh, can you also build it with Cloud Code and make?
Yes, yes, yes. It,
Yeah, of course.
yes.
And like
And I'm
I'm
like, yeah,
you
yeah.
know
Yeah. I'm like, I guess. And it's actually unbelievable. I've been thinking about this part about how my career and even how I position myself and how I describe my career or my capabilities has completely changed. And I'm not trying to just like regurgitate the usual stuff that you see on the timeline, like Claude Code, like, but yeah, like unfortunately, everyone is correct. Fortunately and unfortunately, sorry if it's all you see on the timeline. I try to not talk about it too much, but I still do. Like my workflow, everything has completely changed. Like, what am me, a non-technical person who nearly failed out of my intro to Python class? Like, what am I doing like with fully functioning front ends that can communicate to each other? And like, what am I doing? Like, what? Like, I'm gonna have to do deploy like app scripts, and like all of a sudden I'm like in like Supabase, and I'm like, what? Like, it's a whole new world. And I now know what an MCP stands for. There's definitely still a barrier to entry, but it gets smaller and smaller week by week. It actually is amazing. I only started this vibe code journey about 3 months ago, and it's already so much easier to onboard than it was 3 months ago. Even probably like 6 weeks ago. I mean, the capabilities, it's just things are getting faster, better, smarter, and it's so fun. And the fact that the coding that I can code in English, like it's just me, like sometimes I'm like begging and pleading, but usually learning how to prompt is such a fun skill to have. And yeah, I literally don't go a day without touching, like without talking to me and my BFF Claude. Sorry, people, AI haters will be like, "Gosh, that's so parasocial." It is like I'm such Claude is literally like
it.
me, like we are like that. That's my girl, So, and it has made my work so much more powerful and coming to fruition, and also like depending on less people. You as a designer know, right? Like you can finally take those Figma assets and actually like bring them to life on a dynamic front end or etc. I don't know exactly all the amazing work you do, but yeah, it's crazy. There's like this like labor gap that we're able to creatives are allowed to now kind of express themselves even more. It's awesome. And it's also helpful for technical people. They can get so much more done as well. It's really cool.
Can be a creative people. They can be creative too, like because they can probably have more time to focus on actually what they want to build instead of spending more time just doing the coding, doing and
Yeah. Like now that the barriers of like creating the actual product are lower, you can spend so much more time on the marketing, the strategy, and like the brand, which I think is really fun. And I'm hoping we'll be seeing really, really cool things both in and outside of crypto from it.
yeah, I think you have a very unique perspective on things. Like and yeah, you have been in a positions that also changed what you do in that role. And from your point of view, from your unique point of view, what this position taught you about how trust actually flows through network that you wouldn't understand from any other angle. How trust is flowing in the network.
Yeah. I would say that's like a really I love that. I love this question. I almost feel confused by it, and I want to lean into that because there this, and before, I don't have much career experience before crypto,
I
but
mean,
I had light career experience, and this role, or any role that I've been in, is inherently global, multicultural, and asynchronous, and that is nothing that I was used to when, like, in my prior lives, we'll call it. And so there is such a level of trust, especially because I've worked with people and I've never seen their face. We've kind of touched on this, like I'm like camera on Maxi unless it's early in the morning. Then I'm like, oops, camera off. But like there are people I work with that I don't know their real name or face, and I like, just know them by their anime PFP or whatever it is. And I feel like that sometimes, like, that is probably when I try to tell my parents about this, they're like, wait, like, that's their actual name? I'm like, no, like, just go with it. It's so normal to me. I almost forget that it's actually like a bit weird in like a career space, because it's like I'm so in it. I'm so deep into it. But I think I've been very lucky to be having generalist public facing roles, because I've been able to meet such a broad array of people, and I'm able to vibe with people from all different types of cultures, backgrounds, and like there's still able to be like this like currency of trust that is developed by, like, like these network effects of understanding like where they work, what they do. And I've met so many people who aren't like big crypto personalities, who I have like no mutuals with. I know we talked about that as one of my like easy go-tos. There's tons of newer builders or builders from developing countries who I don't know, and who they haven't had the opportunity to, or the privilege to be able to go to IRL events and meet more people. And yet there's still almost like an energy or a level of trust. And I think that it can be dangerous, but I'd rather, I don't know, not in like a lover girl trope, but I'd rather like trust than not. Obviously, always keep yourself safe, and like if you have a hot wallet, maybe, don't click on the Zoom link from a random thing. You might become broke overnight. But I do think that keep your guard up, understand what privacy means to you, but also in these roles, especially when you're selling a product or with users, like there's a level of trust that you need to put into people, even when it's like scary, like grants, for example. And I think it's almost instinctual, I guess. I almost wish I could describe it more, but maybe it just comes with age and time. And maybe one day, if I'm burnt really badly, Regan and Perkat get back on the podcast and I'm like, I don't trust freaking anyone. But for now, I've I've had bigger bets pay off with the assumption of trust than not. So maybe that's the way that I would put that.
so also, like, do you think people have equal access to? You also mentioned that like some people can't go to events, just
Yeah.
can't be present in the events because of like where they born.
Mm-hmm.
Prevents them to going events and meeting more people, building trust and stuff. And
Totally.
also another layer in crypto too. Like, do you think um, people have equal access to reach this trust networks and build a social capital, even if they go to events? Or like, do you think there's yeah, it's like
I
there's
would
a
say no. I
or
would
it's
say no. I mean, I think I've actually benefited a lot, because as like more women come into crypto, I think it's like there's almost like a badge of honor, where it's like, oh, I've been in the industry for multiple years. Like ears perked up, right? Like even when I'm sometimes talking to people, I can see how they can switch. Like when I mention like, oh, I've worked at XYZ reputable protocols. Not like there's always kind of an assumption, or not always, depending on the person, right? Like there's shitty people everywhere, right? So sometimes a person will just think like you're not serious, blah blah blah. And so time is like a really valuable thing. And I think especially like I got into crypto when it wasn't super cool, or it was like not, it's still objectively mainstream, not a cool thing. But like there's now a lot more women, and I love helping onboard these women and talking to these women, because they don't exactly get the same grace that I get, as someone who just happened to be lucky enough to join earlier because my brother's the one that told me about it, right? And if that never happened, maybe I would have joined later or never at all. And so there's no such thing as like equal access to really just about anything. And I think that identities, whatever you want to call it, location, place of birth, access to internet, or even time access, like people who have to work full-time jobs not in this space, yeah, there are barriers. But what I think I do love about crypto is that if you're like really into the grind, I've seen a lot of people who don't have traditional backgrounds get employed at really powerful protocols because they're loyal and they are like amazing Discord mods or community management, and like they have the passion for it. And so I guess my piece of advice, if you're a person who feels on the outskirts and but you like are really interested in the space, even want to maybe work in it or build in it or learn more about it, I would say get your ass on Twitter. That's first things first. And like get into people's comments, because you'd be shocked how many people just have these group chats and have all these friends. And like I think just start talking, even if you don't know what you're talking about. It's something I'm trying to do for myself. I've gotten a bit of like tweet anxiety over the years that I want to cure. And so, sometimes do what I say, not what I do. But I think that that's how I got started. Nobody knew who I was. And then I just found myself in DAOs and in people's DMs and following people and commenting and learning in public. All of these things, I think having a social paper trail, if you will, either a Discord, Telegram, whatever, is a really good way to get integrated. And there's so many lovely people with great group chats or groups. Yourself, Percat, I feel very lucky to be part of some of the social networks that you've given me, because you're an amazing person who like you're bopping everywhere. And so even if you're a person who has a disadvantaged passport or something, like you can make friends with someone like Percat who is I don't even know if you have a home address. You're everywhere. And so what's awesome about someone like you is you're constantly bringing more people into rooms and into groups for other people to meet each other. And so I think make friends, and the right friends will bring you into the right environments, and then in the future you'll return the favor.
Thank you. I'm still growing, and it's very interesting. Like it's love bombing as an example. I started this as a group chat, and I think it's like turning into a community right now.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Turning into a company. It's new things coming, and I'm really happy about it. And it was really smooth. Like it happened in time. Maybe it was like about the trust. People trusted, loved, spend time in group chat. It wasn't about shilling meme coins, or I haven't tried to extract anything from anyone. So I was even nuked the chat for a few times, like just deleted everything. And some people warned me, like this thing gonna turn into something. People love being in here. Stop crashing out. Just log off. And I was like, okay, yeah, maybe that's true.
Sometimes the answer to being terminally online is logging off. Shut your computer down. Yes, shut it down.
Social media, you can't really do that. But yeah. And yeah, I was gonna ask, I was wanting to ask if you like, how did you start to building your online presence on Twitter?
Yeah, I have a kind of unique story. I got, and it's almost entirely luck, and I feel very comfortable admitting that. I had never had a Twitter before. Like I like consume a lot of media, but like, so I for example, don't post on TikTok, but I'm on TikTok way too much. But I just don't have I didn't have any like public social media really. Like I still don't even have an Instagram, which I think I need to fix, because that's still the main, everyone's like, what's your Instagram? And I'm like, can I get your number? And they're like, what? Anyway, so I didn't have a Twitter. I had never had a Twitter. And I get on and I tweet something like so dumb. Like, and it wasn't even, someone was like, you just need to start tweeting every day. It's like a muscle, which it is. So I tweeted something in like late 2021, and it was like, hi, crypto Twitter. Like, I'm new here. Like, I have 4 followers. Like, don't know anything, but excited to be here. And I went to bed, and then I woke up the next morning, and I was like just on Discord in a DAO. I didn't even have the app on my phone. I think I almost vividly remember tweeting that from my laptop. And I don't even think I had like bothered to download Twitter yet. And I remember I went to like an index coop or co-op, however you want to call it, phone call. That was the first DAO I ever joined. And because I was just like trying to get onboarded. It was like my winter break before I went back for my last semester at college. And so I was like, let me just like learn about this. Like, what is all of this? Like, maybe I can make some side money while I'm a student, doing some marketing work or something. That's what my brother told me. And I had like a job in traditional finance all lined up for when I graduated in the spring of 2022. So I was like, if I could just make a little bit of money on my laptop, that'd be great. So I'm there, and someone named Kind Eagle, shout out Kind Eagle, one of my favorite people in crypto, even still, was like, have you seen that your tweet has blown up and that you have like 300 new followers or something? And I was like, no. And for some reason, I think maybe it was just maybe because I had my face and like people just were like, who's this random girl? And I don't know. My friend Cruz as well, huge shout out to Cruz. There's some like crypto OGs that I just thought of always have a special place in my heart and story. So I kind of got lucky where I randomly was like gifted from the Twitter gods this following, and I leaned into it, and it was such an exciting time. After that, though, I was kind of like, I don't even know how to put it. I just like started getting this like paralysis around Twitter. Like I think like I stopped tweeting for a bit and then I went back to tweet and I had like so many less impressions or likes. So I was getting like, you are your own worst critic. And I'm like, again, if I could go and tell younger 22-year-old me, like, nobody's thinking that much about you. I swear, girl, like you're fine. It doesn't matter if you don't have enough tweet likes compared to what you did a few months ago. I would have, but I basically like kind of shut down and my Twitter went completely silent or semi-completely silent for like well over a year. And so that actually does hurt your reach and engagement. And so there was a bit of like a ego death, like a humbling of self where I'm like, you know what? I just got to get back into it. Like, and if no one sees it and if I'm like kind of shadow banned, like it's whatever. I want to tweet for myself and I want my friends to see my name on the timeline because it's not like I'm on Instagram. I want people to know I'm alive. When I started tweeting again, like not even that long ago, like 8 months ago, I don't even remember now, people were like, oh my God, you're back. Actually, there was even a group chat, shout out Ali, shout out Ben, called like Make Regan Great Again, because they were like begging me to start posting again on Twitter. Like I had so many people in my life be like, dude, you have like all these followers, smart followers, whatever you want to call it. And I've never really had a huge interest in monetizing my audience in any way. So that didn't really matter, but there was a point to that. I was like, it would be really good for my career if I have all these awesome, talented people that I admire who follow me. Like, I should start talking again. And so even now, sometimes I have like, it's like embarrassing. I like Twitter anxiety. It's like, I'm a grown, like, what am I even talking about? But I've enjoyed it. I feel very lucky. I have like a lot of like legacy followers. And I just let myself have fun with it. Life is not that serious. And if you're sitting there tweeting into the void, I see you, or maybe I don't see you because you're tweeting in the void, but keep doing it. Keep trying to escape algorithm jail. And you're important, but if you think you're under this microscope, even if you were, who gives a shit what they think? But also, you're not. Everyone's so preoccupied with their own bullshit. Like, sorry, am I allowed to curse on this podcast? But everyone's so preoccupied with their own stuff that just do it. Just tweet. So yeah, mine was very luck-based, and I had so many incredible people in crypto that I've leaned on and who have essentially become like mentors to me. And so I would say that my social following is very little of my own. Like sometimes people think I'm funny. I'm like, okay, that's me. But really it was the amazing people that I like landing an index co-op, I think really set the pace for me to become a full crypto degen, if you will.
What were you tweeting in the first days? Were you
your daily? I don't know anything. Like I barely even understood the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum. I don't even think I did. I remember like vividly getting onboarded to like Cruz did like an onboarding call with me, one of my friends, and it was like getting me like a rainbow wallet. And I was like, what the hell is all of this? I think I was just tweeting like life stuff. And then I started writing, like I just like realized I'm like, there's all these people who are way more important than me that are following me now, or at least following my journey. And so I tried to just keep my journey really public. I got super lucky that, shout out Bunny, like I had some friends who were just asking like what my experience was. And at 21, you don't have much experience, but I was like, oh, I know about like options and structured products. And so I quickly landed a part-time gig at Open under amazing like blockchain at Berkeley people, Alexis Zubin, and I'm like shouting everyone out. But truly, there's so many people for me to shout out in my journey who like I had like no business and really not any traditional marketing experience. And I just like, they just gave me the Twitter password and I was just like doing things. And then I was helping them internally, and it was just so amazing. I I really just, again, it was like people always talk about like, oh, like crypto people are scammers, but like truly, I have been shown so much like love, grace, and like people going out of their way to help me or my career in crypto. And so that's why maybe I just got really lucky exactly when I joined. It was right off the highs of ETH, like of Ethereum all time highs. So maybe people were just really happy. But yeah, I have so many people to talk about, even if I don't speak up to them on a daily basis, who have just been instrumental in having me join this space and ditch TradFi. So yeah, sorry, I think I'm rambling. I don't even think I remember the original question, but I just wanted to say that.
It was like, what do you post? Like, how did you start posting? And I
Oh
didn't.
yeah, I like totally butchered that question. So yeah, I was posting just like thoughts, updates, little quips. I remember I wrote a little Substack article. I just talked about what I was learning. I talked about, I think it was like a public journey where I was just like, hi, I'm a person who knows nothing. I have, I'm pursuing a finance degree. And so it gave me a bit of an advantage because, like, a lot of the decentralized finance stuff like mirrors or tries to optimize or improve upon or change existing finance. So that's where I found my niche personally is in DeFi. And so that was pretty easy for me, like in that regard, to like find like what I wanted to look into. But yeah, I don't even remember this. You're making me want to go back down, take a stroll down memory lane. Nothing too insightful. Nothing too insightful. Just, I think I was just having fun with it. Like, and by having fun with it, I went to ETH Denver. I think I like skipped school. I was like, I'm going to ETH Denver. That was amazing. Shout out Harmony DAO when that was around. They like paid for a bunch of women to go to ETH Denver, and like they paid for our hotel. Like, oh, dude, different times. But
What was
yeah,
the year? Which year it was? The time
that was 2022. That was 2022, February of 2022, I think. That was my very first Denver. Oh, that was so fun. And yeah, like, oh, that was so great. And it was like free for me to go, which was so cool. Like it was a very short flight. I was living in LA, going to school, and then went to Denver. And like, honestly, it's like that was it. I met so many amazing people that I was like, I want to be here forever. And I think that's kind of, at least for right now, that hasn't changed.
Amazing. Unique story, actually.
Thank you.
And it shows that how important crypto Twitter is. And around that time, I remember people were like more, I don't know, even if you post something like silly but real, oh, I'm learning this thing right now. It's like Gitcoin, whatever it is. I'm just learning it, posting it. And then someone was coming to you, oh, do you want to work for this company? Do you want to do this thing?
Yeah, stuff was
Like,
different. Stuff
like
was,
that.
stuff
Like,
was like,
people
there was
were
maybe
throwing opportunities to you.
yeah, I mean, like literally. I mean, people make jokes about the raising environment as well. Like raising back then is not what raising's like now. The whole job market as well. But I still do think that it is like a good strategy, and I do see it. Maybe it pays off like less often, but I think learning in public is so fun. If anyone ever makes fun of someone learning in public, like just tag me and Perka actually, and like where I will virtually beat them up for you because, like, you should never be afraid to learn. You should never be embarrassed about what you don't know. We all have access to different environments and teachings and whatever. It's not embarrassing to not know like anything at all about crypto and to still want to learn about it. And so the learning in public, I think, is really fun and also will probably help you get a job, because if you're able to be like, like lay yourself bare out there and put yourself out there, like employers notice that, and like the eagerness to learn is not something that can always be taught to people. You can teach just about anything in a job except for like things that are innate to a person or things that a person has grown in themselves, like tenacity and the willingness to learn, right? Like you can teach people things, but that actual willingness and that hunger is something that you kind of can't force upon someone. And so I think that, like, at least if I was hiring, I'm unfortunately not, but like hopefully one day I have my own thing and I'm hiring people, like I would so love to hire people who don't know a lot about crypto and aren't even crypto OGs, but have like the spirit where they're eager to learn and to experiment, and they're almost like brazen in their learning and unafraid to admit what they don't know. That those people are always so fun, and that's kind of how I am. Like I'm usually like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like especially when I did BD at Euler, like people would be talking about stuff, and sometimes I had to be like, hey, so I'm gonna embarrass myself, but like, what what are you talking about? Do you know what I mean? And people usually are very receptive to that. There can be some grandstanding sometimes where people like I've definitely been in situations where people have like talking to me and I'm like, I don't know. But usually I feel pretty comfortable being like, hey, can you explain that a bit further? And people do.
Yeah, and you learn that way. The thing that you don't.
Yeah, because if you can't like I can get how it can almost feel embarrassing because you're like, oh, I don't actually know. But like people are usually really nice about explaining things. At least I've found. And there's so many great free resources out there now that crypto's become more mature that it's good to learn, it's good to get involved, and it's never too late.
And my last question
Yeah.
is: are like an in between moment right now. Things are changing and shifting as we speak.
Yeah.
And crypto Twitter is different too. It's not like before. The vibe is changing. Like I really realize that even me, I'm like, oh, let me shit post today. Let me post something funny. Like I'm forcing myself to post something funny. Like I was only shit posting before, I guess. Right
Yeah.
now feel like, oh, I need to post something informative and I need to post something serious. I need to write an article about this and let the cloud fix it. And then
Yeah. I agree
I'm
with
like, I'm
you.
a serious person right now. Everyone is
Yeah,
so
you're like Percat the business. Yes, exactly. Like Percat the businesswoman with her little bangs.
I
Like
feel like I
exactly.
have to be in this way, right? Because like everyone changed and I was like, oh, okay, I'm changing too. Like I'm a different person.
You're so right. Almost as fast as Claude Code came, did the actual vibe shift in crypto Twitter of things
I'm
becoming a
gonna
bit more
ask,
buttoned up institutional. And this is because crypto is becoming less of an insular industry. It was like again, even though I worked in traditional finance, like we never, and again, very briefly, but like crypto was never ever brought up, at least like not around me. And so now it's like becoming an actual thing. And I think this actually is a good thing. I mean, oftentimes I can sometimes drown in my own nostalgia of things, but I think the point of crypto was to not be inherently niche. It was to integrate into major financial systems, like hopefully, and transform the way that people do things because certain legacy systems were quite broken or unfair depending on where you lived and what you had access to. And so, sort of that like crypto zeitgeist energy that was even before my time, I feel like is kind of or coming to fruition where it's like, hey, like access for everyone, et cetera. And so I think things are becoming institutional, right? Like there's going to be like New York City DAS in a bit, and like DAS has always been huge, but it only gets even more huge. Things are becoming more institutional. You're starting to see people in suits more often. Like even like I'm still probably going to pull up in sweatpants, but maybe not something like DAS, but you know what I mean? Like I think crypto is becoming more mainstream, and that can sometimes be like a little like whoa crazy, but also it's the point. The point like is that for the tech to be able to integrate into communities and markets and spaces and countries that you know are so outside of insular baby crypto Twitter. That's like always kind of been like the point, but I think like we're finally at that inflection point where people are starting to think like trying to make blockchains private, and they're becoming like cryptography and crypto technology and blockchains themselves are becoming like way more mainstream, way. Like when I tell people I work in crypto, it's like I get different responses and like every single year, and it's very interesting to see how the outside world perceives our little micro community that is no longer so micro and no longer so niche. And so is that a sign that the tech is working? Is it a sign of the times? Like, I don't necessarily know. I mean, I like to hope so. I like to hope that crypto gets taken more seriously as an industry. But I hope that that spirit, like you said, that like spirit of privacy first, even anonymity, kind of like be like, you know, being yourself. There's just like this sort of spirit to crypto that I think is so attractive and also can be unattractive in certain ways, right? Especially like for women getting into it. Like I'm not gonna like make light of those things, but the people that I have met have such like a have such like an energy to them that I love and that you rarely find in traditional finance. So anyway, I just want to plus one to what you said. I feel that same shift, but I hope that you never stop going by Percat. I think that it's cute and fun, and I hope that our industry always.
legal name. I'm gonna make it my legal name.
You should like be like, oh, like you should like they're like, why don't you go by your real name? You're like, do you want to see my ID? Exactly, because the spirit, like the people that help build this industry are people like that go by like Marshmallow, and I think that that's awesome. I hope that that continues to prevail and people can continue to take like the ethos of privacy even as it becomes more mainstream.
Okay, adding another question too, like
Yes.
as crypto becoming more institutionalized, do you think it is like, is it gonna protect its ethos, what they want to build in real world, or it's just like a sign, a little bit also a sign of defeat because it's losing its power.
Mm. It's a really good question. I mean, I think like I've seen so many narrative flips, like L2s were all the rage, and then now it's like payments, and like you're starting to see like things like Tempo, right? Where it's like a big like Stripe, Klarna, like massive payment processors, industry providers. So in some ways, like I think that the goal of, I think people have different and unique takes on the goal of crypto. But I think if we go back to kind of what I was saying, like even before I joined crypto, it was like maybe a bit even idealist of like, removing barriers to entry. That kind of like went away, and it was more like meme coin, DeFi, etc. And then L2, and then now there's maybe the secret third thing. There's always like different narrative shifts or words, the word of the year, X402, modularity, insert whatever you want here, right? I think that crypto's done a lot of shifting. I think it's finding a lot of product market fit in payments, which I think is very cool. And I think that, yeah, I mean, when it comes to, I think I almost don't know how to answer that question about the defeat, but I would say that I feel excited when crypto becomes more mainstream. I feel proud as well. I feel almost vindicated, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
to my parents, I'm like, yeah, that's real money, mom. I told you.
Yeah.
My parents used to say, they're like, oh my gosh, like you should probably cash out. Like that's not real. Like they're like, and I'm like showing them. I'm like, no, mom. Like it's real. Like I can even pay with like USD. Like and even my parents are like, well, that's not real. And so maybe there's a bit of indication as well because I'm like, it is real. But I have definitely round tripped so many bags. I've lost money. I've made money. But I am very bullish, if you will, on crypto, and I think that. Like we have such awesome builders, and I hope to see more Web2 people coming in. I hope that it gets really big because it's tech that I think is important, and so I think I'm always going to be happy when I'm seeing it more brought up in the mainstream. That's a personal perspective, and I understand people might feel differently.
I was
That's how I
like,
feel.
and I read like some Bitcoin maxi articles, which is very pessimistic about the institutional adoption, and I was like, oh, maybe it's like, I don't know, like I have mixed opinions about it too.
Yeah, I would love to. I think like it's almost a
Getting
question
other
that
people's
maybe I'm.
thoughts,
Yeah,
but it's
maybe I
like,
haven't seen enough of the contra perspective. I think I'm always a person where it's like, change my mind. You know what I mean? Like I'm open to changing my mind. I'm sort of just like, here's my gut instinct, but like I'd be super curious to read that article because I tend to be surrounded by like tech optimists. There's a lot of tech doomerism happening, especially amongst like people that work at FANG companies, coding your own replacement. There's a lot of this turmoil, and I think we're at an inflection point. But I think I would have always loved about crypto is its like level of like tech optimism, and but I'd be very very curious like to see some of these other opinions, maybe not tech pessimists per se, but like you said, like potentially I'm worried about institutionals. It's like, oh, okay, tell me why, because I don't know why, but I'm listening, tell me why. So I'd love to read that.
I guess I will send after this.
Thank you, Percat.
Amazing interview. And yeah, thank you for joining. Like it was an amazing interview. It wasn't like,
thank you. I haven't done one in so long. Thank you for having me. I just adore you, and so I hope to see you IRL soon. And I appreciate you even thinking of me and wanting me to come on.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, it was amazing. I feel great. I feel like just walked and had a walk in a park and talk about the things together. I literally feel like that.
We're overdue for a girls' walk in a park. We're very overdue.
And yeah, I don't want to take so much of your time. I don't know how much time we spent on the stream, but it was great. Let's do it again later.
Let's do it again. Okay, pencil me in for whenever. Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun, and I can't wait to see this when you finally, I don't know, is this like live on Twitter? I forgot. Are you releasing it?
Post clip you.
Oh yeah, clip me, clip chimp me, make sure I look good. You can clip me.
And the YouTube link after we finish. You can send it to your mom, dad, family.
Yes, she asked me. She was like, she had a business call during this time, but she said that she wants to watch this. So that'd be perfect.
Okay, perfect then. Okay,
Awesome.
the next one then.
See you next time. Thank you.